Let's talk about why less might be more when it comes to speaker quantity, and why I chose to just stick to 2.2 audio in my living room. So this question came in through the comments in my last home theater zone update tours. I did an updated tour mid-2022 here for my dedicated theater space, and also a separate one for my living room, where I currently run a 2.2 channel setup using a pair of Focal 1000 IWLCR6s and a pair of Triad in-wall bronze subwoofers. Everything integrated, everything clean, everything in-wall, but only 2.2 audio. So the question was, why go 2.2? Why did you choose that? What are some of the merits? And so I wanted to break that down. Number one to me is, I think 2-channel actually, or 2 plus a sub or 2, is like the ideal type of system setup in a living room. And I will say, with a little bit of an exception, of course, I do have a dedicated multi-channel theater room. So if I really wanted to go watch something with immersive audio, surround sound audio, Atmos and all that, I would just go downstairs to do it. If I only had one zone, I might work a little harder, try a little harder to make that zone be multi-channel, be an immersive audio type of space. And so as a secondary zone, I think this is ideal. But in some cases as well, actually, I don't know, I might still be biased towards just sticking to 2.2, 2.0 or 2.2. Because I think one of the immediate merits of keeping your system like that is the inherent simplicity that comes with it, right? Less things, there's less wiring. When you have less channels, you need less processing, you need less channels of amplification. The entire just level of your system complexity, system scope, all of that stuff just stays at a nice, maintained, kind of capped level, making things easier to install, easier to connect, easier to integrate. So much so that talking to a best friend of mine about him maybe wanting to add some speakers and stuff to his system, I'm just like, just start with 2-channel. I think that like he would find enough envelopment, immersion, soundstage with 2 big speakers instead of trying to do more than that, especially right out of the gate. And so building on that too, for me, especially in this room, is the idea that like no speakers are better than really compromised speakers. So if I actually wanted to do surround sound in this room, and I actually did have surround sound in here at one point in time, the only way that I could accomplish it was by pushing everything up into the ceiling. And quite honestly, it was pretty terrible. So I have an open, big opening passway between my living room and my kitchen dining on this side. I've got my fireplace and windows on this wall. There's no side surrounds going anywhere. I've got bookcases and all of that stuff behind me. There's not going to be rear surrounds going in the little walkway between the couch and the bookcases. And I don't want to take away from the book space, the presentation of the shelving as a library, to stuff a speaker in there. So about the only other thing I could really add effectively to this room would be overheads, because I could get them overhead, and I did have them in here at some point. Again, it's just most of those speaker positions would be challenging, would be compromised, and so in my experience, my choice, it's better to just forego them, take them out, not even worry about them, than to try to shoehorn something in where it really doesn't fit, it really doesn't integrate. You got to tear a whole bunch of things up to try to get it there. And the experience, maybe once you do that, isn't necessarily worthwhile. I think another benefit of focusing on a 2-channel setup or 2.1, 2.2 channel setup is the idea that you can take all of that budget effectively that you had and plow it into the quality of those speakers. Getting those left and right speakers, those towers, whatever specific choice you might be making, and allocating all of that budget is very powerful to get a bigger, more impactful, higher end speaker. I would rather have 2 very high end speakers than 5 or 7 or 11 mid-range speakers, quite honestly. And I think it would make for the overall better acoustic audio and home theater experience to do it that way as well. And if, depending on what your tastes are and what you're using your space for, if you're able to accommodate larger towers, bigger present speakers, maybe you could even forego on the subwoofers. If the speakers hit low enough, maybe you're not like super detailed movie focused. You might find that a large tower can put out enough satisfactory bass for you. Again, making the whole system integration even easier with less stuff, less devices. I did choose to keep the subs in here. I already actually had them and the in walls are not going to strike. There's just no way that the in walls are going to hit at the level of what a similar speaker could accomplish if it was in a big tower in the room, if I actually had Sopras instead of the 1000 series focals. So if with the in walls, I think the subs were an important part of the overall system and really important to keep them there. But if I didn't have them and I was looking at larger towers, big footprint towers, I think I might even be able to get by in this space without the subwoofers. And so you cut all those speakers, you potentially cut those subwoofers out, and now you're just shopping for the most expensive, highest end, most impactful pair of towers that you could spend your money on. You probably have a lot more to allocate to it, and you're going to be buying a much higher end, better, fuller, richer, all of that speaker as a result. Or potentially even saving yourself money, right? Because there's definitely a fallacy to say that if I was going to buy 5 speakers or 7 speakers, I'm probably going to want to buy the same expensive towers that I would be looking at anyway, meaning I would need to be buying surrounds and other matching speakers to go with them at that same level. The other merit that I'll say to a system like this and sticking to the simplicity of it is don't write off the phantom center. There's a lot of conjecture about phantom centers. I've been living with it for a while in this room, and I'm sitting about 14 feet back from an 83-inch OLED TV. I've got a nice amount of split here between the speakers, but I sit all over this couch. I lay down with my head on one side. I lay down kind of like facing my feet towards the screen on the other side. I sit up, I move there, I move here. And I find that with these speakers, with the setup, Anthem, using arc room correction and all of that, the imaging of the phantom center to me is really just deadlocked into the center of the screen, regardless of where I sit, where I lay, and all of that. So don't be afraid of a phantom center. Maybe some folks that really don't like them have had some bad experiences with them, but I'm saying very honestly, firsthand, living with it, choosing it, using it, if it bothered me, trust me, I would be changing it. I would be looking for a way to get a real center channel and all of it in here, and I feel no need. I feel no need at all to do that. I think this is just fantastic. Dialogue is anchored. Everything is coming out of the middle of that television, and it doesn't feel false. It doesn't feel faked. And I say that as well as now having in my theater room, having my LCRs actually behind my screen. I find that I really, really don't like other systems that I've demoed recently where the center channel was below the screen. To me, my brain, my ears, I can hear that sound. It doesn't hit me as much like that sound is coming from the screen like it's supposed to after hearing a real acoustically transparent setup. But the phantom center with the speakers properly flanking the TV, everything's like at the vertical level that it's supposed to be at, and that phantom center image, it just locks, it works. Don't be afraid of it. Try it out in the right setting with the right setup, and I would trust it 100%. And again, I feel no need or reason to change that in this space. The other thing I like about going with 2-channel is that you can always treat it as a bit of a start, meaning put your money into those speakers, put your money into those mains, set your system up like that. And the nice thing about if it's not enough for you, if you really don't find that it's satisfying everything that you want out of your audio experience, you can always go ahead and buy more, add more, build up essentially over time. But rather than going forward feeling that you need to go into 7, 11, all of these extra channels, all of this stuff, maybe if you're just getting started out, setting up your system and kind of getting your AV experience and all of that established, start with that, see what you think about it, go with the 2 speakers, go as high end as you can, and when you're ready, or if you really feel then like you need more, you want more, start adding more and do it over time, do it in stages. It's always better in this hobby, in my opinion, to buy less, better gear first, build up over time, build up slow, and keep everything as you flesh your system out at that higher level. So 2-channel, I think it's awesome. I think it's very, very underrated. I think a lot of people go for more stuff than maybe they can realistically accommodate, than their room can realistically support. And I think this is a great starting and end point for a lot of systems. Focus on that awesome pair of speakers. Focus on that awesome 2-channel preamplifier, amplifier, or integrated amplifier. I think there are a ton of just excellent 2-channel focused processors and integrateds out there. Probably more better choices for 2-channel than even for multi-channel when it comes to receivers and all of that. And if you're integrating a 2-channel setup with video, it gets even simpler. You can run your sources into the TV. You can come out of the TV just via optical. Perfect connection for full bandwidth 2-channel. That's how I run mine. In here, all my sources into the LG G2, optical out into my Anthem STR, running also some Parasound amplifier separates and all of that. And it's just amazing, just sublime. You know, so much so that if we moved, I had to get rid of the theater. I had a living room to deal with. I'm probably looking at the biggest TV I could get. I'm probably looking at some monster towers, you know, some nice integrated, all of that. That would be my focus. That's my recommendation. If you've got questions about it, anything else that I can clarify, give my point of view, give my suggestions with regard to 2-channel versus multi-channel, the merits, the benefits, the pros and cons, all of that, please ask away in the comments. Otherwise, please do all the regular YouTube stuff. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Check out the super thanks. Check out the super thanks. Check out the channel memberships. Check out the merch, Amazon affiliate links, all of that stuff. Your support is appreciated. And coming back for more home theater and hi-fi discussion and fun.